Yes.
Well, we hope our other couple of people come in. Oh, here comes one. Yeah, I hope our another man back. What number?
Yes.
So, yeah, we like to bring the meeting to order. We thought it would be a wonderful chance to look now and see if it's all laid out and go over the words and make sure we're ready for the board to show the board a draft.
Perfect. Do you want me to bring it up and we'll get started?
Yeah.
Okay, just to remind everyone, the schedule here is that the current strategic plan that JMRL is operating under is finishing at the end of June this year. So the next 5-year plan starts on July 1. This group has been working for a year, I believe, on this process.
10 years.
10 years on this process. Now has a draft ready, we think, after today's discussion to share with the full board, who then will take a few months to review and provide feedback.
And then I think there's two parts to this meeting. There's the outward facing document as well as internal staff document that needs to be very, very rough.
It is in draft format. So they're both in draft format, but the actual strategic plan is much farther along in its draft format.
You can tell where we spent most of our time.
So what we should do today is look through the one pager, which is 2 pages really, and then take a look at the staff objectives. Those also we likely will share with the board so that they can endorse them and say, yes, we've seen these, yes, this makes sense, and take any feedback from them, add anything that they feel needs to be added. And the subcommittee that's been working on that thought we were at a good enough stopping point now where not all the details are filled in, but the major content areas are there. So we can kind of show it to this full group, accept any feedback you all have, and then go back and try to wordsmith it and make it look. It's not going to look nearly as pretty as the strategic plan, but it will be chock full of useful content. Okay. So 2 parts to this document. There's what this group has worked on, which is this plan, your library's next 5 years. It's using the 4 values associated with JMRL's mission and values. And under each of those, there is a board level goal saying that here are the broad things that the board would like to accomplish in this value over the next 5 years. And then some strategies. So here are some things that the board wants to focus on. The accompanying document will have objectives, which are measurable things that staff will do in order to meet these strategies. And then the other side is more just a kind of welcome to JMRL. So it's information for all of our stakeholders. So for our users, for our staff, for our funding partners, for the other groups that we work with, a little bit of information about where we are and who we are, our mission, and then Jennifer worked very hard on putting together this information at the bottom about how our programs, resources, and services support these 8 different kinds of literacy. And I know Meredith helped with that too, Meredith Dickens. And we'll get into the nitty-gritty of that, but just that's in the broad strokes. So what we're seeking today is a recommendation from this committee to take this to the full board. If there are major structural issues at this point, we have a problem. If somebody's like, well, wait, that's not one of our values, or you know, anything like that, then you know, we have an issue. If there are minor wording quibbles, then it's not too late to make changes. If there's a typo, we can also address that.
Sorry, it's already been printed. I just know one thing that just struck me, and sorry, that's all I have about the word thing here, by the writer, but and also just the branding. I didn't feel like the brand was really strong enough on this page. It felt very muted.
Yeah, I thought about that when we looked at it. I mean, it's because we are hitting people over the head with our brand all the time. We have our logo.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. This is like our big thing.
Yeah, it's hard to tell who's there we are.
Yeah, it's your library, and and then I just
It's really hard to fit this and that brand. This is space. What you're seeing here is space.
Yeah.
Because we can give up that previous strategic plan outcomes in favor of a logo, or we can have.
Right. Well, I would just suggest that first of all, you've got a typo that looks strange. merged, so I think you could hit more things. I do, you know, these one pager things that work all the time, ABA, but, the only thing is the voice thing. It's sort of like your library, and it's, we are doing this, and then it's JMR will do this. And I think that was a little inconsistent to me, but I think this would be an opportunity. It doesn't have to be a logo, but just the title of the library.
It's just JMRL's next 5
Next
years.
5 years, because, yeah, I mean, it's just, it's our the library, you don't have to be subtle about it.
You got me started too, because we said in our summary that we don't use we.
Yeah.
Well, it's already, it's in our mission.
Yeah.
It's on our mission.
The values themselves.
Instead of just saying JMRL.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, we be saying chamber.
I will say our whole library is not ever fall out.
On purpose.
Yeah. Well, it is on purpose.
It's on the back.
Yes, it is on the back. But it's not on the side, but it's about the strategic plan, so.
In the back, it's clear.
Yeah, I don't know, I just think of it less of like the front and the back is like a thing that works together.
Sure.
You know, this informs that.
Yeah, but I hate to say it, but every one feature, they're, and most people will just look at this, and this is really more everything, so I can imagine 5 years, there will be tweaks made to this.
Sure.
But it won't be as much as like, oh, we have to keep a deal.
So let's focus on specific things.
What if we put Jefferson Madison Library here?
Well, what if we just said JMRL in 5 years?
I don't have I like saying that JMRL is your library, and I thought it was a chance to have some messaging.
Yeah.
That's like friendly. Because this is a very like, you know, formal thing here, and I think to kind of soften it and make it more approachable makes sense.
But if we don't have any other room to put any other branding,
Well, we could spell out Jefferson Madison Library across that side of the bar down there.
And that's in black right now, is that correct?
Yes, and there's
Is
the
that correct?
change where she wanted.
Oh, that's what we
Which
want
one
in
do
black,
you
because it's the only graphic that's in black, but anyway, sorry.
I can see that the page is bracketed black, top and black at the bottom. I understand not wanting to choose one of the 4 colors for the band at the bottom. It's 4 of 4. So, yeah, I see the black being things, but
It's in balance.
but it kind of, when you're only looking at the
Just
bottom.
It is a lot of color, I don't know, I just have 4 colors.
that was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever.
So, okay, so the takeaways are JMRL's next 5 years, right? That's what we want.
That's even be fine having like a smaller your libraries and JMRL over top.
Okay.
I'd be fine with that.
All right, yeah, some of this was like
I like
battles with the graphic designer and what he was talking about hierarchy and, you know, so I can come back to him and ask for those tweaks.
Hey, David, look, LaTosha's on this.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Go ahead, Alita, you're trying to say something?
Yeah, I'm having a difficulty with the different voices and everything, understanding what's being said, but from what I understand, we're talking about this term "your."
Yes, your library.
Yeah, but aren't we supposed, you know, the people, isn't this, they're supposed to be like a stakeholder in this? So wouldn't you say "your" for?
Yeah, I think that Jennifer would agree with you on that point, right? You're trying to make it friendlier and it's directed towards our stakeholders.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the only thing yeah, like I said, like I couldn't hear exactly what the conversation was. But when I saw "your," I thought that you were talking about the people and they as stakeholders, you know, in the library.
Alina, my only objection was I didn't feel there was a logo at the top of the page, so your library seemed a little vague to me, like which library are we talking about? That was all.
Mm.
So Haley, what you were suggesting something that had both? I don't see how that.
I mean, I just thought like if you had a logo Jefferson Mass Regional Library, and then it said your libraries. Maybe, and I don't know.
Did this go to the top? And then it's like, this goes to the top and then.
I don't think that works. Right. Design wise.
Or maybe not even a logo, but just the name of our library at the top, and then your library's next.
Like we're trying to keep, white space up there because of all of these other things that are brought up. You have to let things breathe a little bit. And then having it at the bottom helps ground it.
Yeah, personally, I like a library for all. I think it's, I think it's clear who this is from. I think it matches our plan. But I do hear your point. Can't over brand.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. We are doing a lot of writing on here.
I feel like branding happens here. It's like, this gives you context.
On the other side.
Yeah, I mean, if you're confused, you can look at the other side. I just don't know where anyone would be confused. But we've got our brand colors.
And I understand why you're doing the black.
Well, I had a softer gray, and the designer did. So this was a design idea, but and also because we had a black logo, like to bring the color there again, just felt it, like then what colors there are, and it just felt like there was a lot of color.
I am thinking about like the strategic plan comes straight here, more muted colors instead of like having same color repeated right here.
Yeah.
Here. But
Yeah, we tried having more muted colors, and the words didn't show up as well. So the darker colors just help the words stand out.
I guess the amount of accessibility, like we're really not apt to not.
Yeah.
They are very.
Yeah,
Well, like, especially on the web, and this would be a PDF.
mhm.
Any accessibility things that you have?
Yeah, we run our web content and our PDFs through an accessibility checker of sorts, but it's not, it's probably to meet the letter of like what's required. It's not like to make it friendly necessarily, which it sounds like what it is.
No, I'm not talking about friendly, I'm talking about actually people making
Yeah.
white letters on yellow and stuff like that. I think we're asked not to do that in our office, but
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure.
Well, we had like I think a little more muted colors, and then like 3 of them were white and 1 of them was black because of the colors that they were on, and then that looks like we were putting more emphasis on something, and so we were just sort of trying to find a middle ground and
Yeah.
use our colors. So we darkened instead. We wanted to have the white words on.
So any consensus there on what I'm hearing is either keep it your library's next 5 years or JMRL's next 5 years, or trying to somehow squeeze both in there.
no,
What happened to all those opinions?
I mean, you're saying that the designer won't do certain things.
Well, the designer was telling me what the problem was.
Okay, so I'll just finish what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
If I were working with this designer, I would. You're working for us, and thank you for your opinion, but I really need
Yeah.
to do this all.
Well, I was asking him to
Yeah.
give me
Okay.
design advice because I'm not a graphic.
So let me just finish the thought.
Yeah.
Here's what I would do. I would say kick off this bottom bar, and then you have a little more white space down there to play with, and put like a JMRL logo and the website. Because those are good. And this could be shown a little bit. And I think it's rather large, like in proportion.
And that's because we were well,
Okay.
yeah, we're trying to make room for these things and make it make sense and have balance, but
Yeah, I would just make that smaller. And then maybe more white space. I mean, that's what I would do, but obviously. It's your brochure.
Well, it's not.
And it's not,
It's
and
a library.
it's not really a content thing that I'm talking about, it's more just like a visual.
Yeah.
Just because I think this is super important. We're obviously branding all over the place. When I pull it up, if someone was saying like, I'm in another library, I'm in Suffolk, and someone says, oh, look, this library system has a great thing, I'd be like, who is it? Like, this is obvious to you guys, but this isn't obvious.
I had a similar thought when it said your life experience.
And that still doesn't, it's not still a spell out, but yes, you think of it. And you're like, oh, and here's the area and that. And I just want to commend you guys on all of that.
There you go. Okay,
Latasha, does she have something?
go ahead, Latasha, just pop in.
Yeah, so my question is it a concern about the logo or the name on that sort of front page? Because I'm coming in kind of towards the middle of this.
I think the concern was that it's not branded enough for people to look at it and know that this is JMRL, so it's a little bit of both.
So, and maybe this is doesn't flow as well to say, but could we, I understand what they're saying with, making it softer and ownership with the stakeholders. Could we not have your JMRL's next 5 years? I mean, you do have the logo at the bottom, and then at least our name is right at the top, and then it still makes that connection of this is your library.
Your JMRL's next 5 years.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right to my ear.
I know that was the only thing, especially because we're not spelling it out, so to speak. So except for one place.
Room to spell it out there. I would say, if I were making a decision right now, it would be to say JMRL's next 5 years, because I think some of the softness comes from the other page, a library for all.
I agree.
So we're getting that messaging across, and that would not be a major redesign, but that might not address the graphic issues that Meredith and yours.
Yeah.
You're saying just put JMRL's next 5 years.
Yeah.
I do think design wise, this bar at the bottom, if we took it off, this is still a strong horizontal at the bottom of the page. If we take that off and move everything down, you do get room up the top to play around with. So I would support.
So if Jennifer's meeting with our designer tomorrow, for last minute tweaks. So if we were to do that, remove the bottom bar and then try to get a logo in one corner and JMRL.org in the other corner, probably have to lose Roller and Connect there.
Yeah.
Then would it be your library's next 5 years or JMRL's next 5 years?
And then each thing below says JMRL. And we still have to decide whether the spirit is here now, whether it's meat or meats. Because I think it's both ways.
I think it's meat too, yeah, I thought about that.
Because you said meat. Oh, yes.
I rewrote it today.
Yeah, I can hear it both ways, and I think in Meredith must.
Where's the typo? Use it.
On the next page.
Meredith Dickens.
Thank you.
Oh, here, it's, that, more, it circulates more than 1.6 million items.
Oh, got it.
And then also I would recommend not splitting up online. It looks like you have room to push online to be whole on the next slide. Not right next word.
Jennifer, do you see that in the end?
Yeah. Good reading.
So I hear consensus on that. It'll be remove the bottom bar. You can get a logo on one corner, the URL on the other corner, and change it to JMRL's next 5 years. Okay? Jennifer, does that sound good?
Yeah.
I think Alita, that kind of runs contrary to what you were saying. You like the your. Because it gives a sense, I like that too, it gives a sense of this belongs to you, and we do use that language a lot, but
Right.
the rest of this, is under the goals, it all says JMRL will promote, JMRL will do this, JMRL will do that, so it brings a little consistency there.
Okay.
There's another little wrinkle that you could serve our communities and goals. Your library will this.
Well, those are our actual values, like board, in the mission statement for JMRL, that's the language.
No, on the next part.
Underneath goals. This sentence.
We serve our community goals. Your library will work with the community. I mean, if you really want the stakeholder to be there, you could address them.
Well, these were the things that were written in committee,
Yeah.
Right.
so.
I think
But we're
that's.
the committee, so yes,
Yeah,
we
right.
can still alter we can still alter the language. That's just the only other thing I could think of.
Of how to get that language in there.
Yeah.
My only concern would be the green one. Because I know how much Jennifer fought for
To get it in there.
every pixel of space there.
Yeah, I mean, the adding 2 words does make a difference in a couple of places.
I don't think your library as much as JMRL knows.
But I mean, I think for sure, if there's any place we're gonna whack the brand, just like whack, it's this, the 5-year strategic.
I hear that,
Like
One.
brandy.
Brandy is-
Brandy.
Okay, so that was a good high level discussion of what that design looks like, and we made some tweaks. Go to the bottom bar, add a logo, add the URL at the top, change your library to JMRL. Let's look at the actual words through here. This is a nightmare. We have already vetted all the goals there. This group has already signed off on this, so I don't think, unless you see a typo, I don't think there's anything that needs. Except for the meat, but I think we fell on.
So you get a point for removing a word in anything.
JMRL will work with the community to serve everyone, provide library services that meet people where they are. Yeah, I think it's right.
Services meet.
Yeah, services meet, right. Got it. Okay, so the strategies for this goal are to identify underserved populations and work to bring library services to them by networking with community organizations and the groups they serve. That's good. Remember how much work every word is doing here. We're synthesizing our staff input, our community feedback, and every other strategic plan we reviewed, along with what we knew left over from the last plan that we worked on. So, review the need for expanded and updated facilities, including mobile services and library kiosks. Review and revise JMRL's approach to its compensation plan. Okay, all those strategies are the things that the board is going to do. Board members, does that sound good? Board president?
I have notes on here from some of my staff members that I had to look at it, like, what does this read to you?
Yeah.
And one of them said, like, to implement expanded and updated facilities, or like, just to review the need for it, seems like not a lot of doing, it seems like a lot of like, I can kind of see what she's talking about, but I don't know, like, would it just be expand and update facilities?
Like, we don't have a lot of say over that. We
Right.
wanted to, we've been reviewing central library renovation for how long, and it's, things like that. I think,
Yeah, I don't think the library board can say you're going to build a new building or expand this building. They can recommend. I think this is also encompassing the mobile services and library kiosks, so it's
Yeah.
not just the physical buildings. It's also other ways to provide access.
I think heard that was, so you review the need for it.
can we say address the need?
That seems.
Which allows acknowledgement, review, and whatever action we can potentially do.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit more passive than.
And it
I like that.
address the need.
Take a vote. All in favor?
That sounds, Tony's waving his hand. Does that sound okay? It doesn't sound you're overcommitting.
I also like that it's not bullet point review, bullet point review.
True.
It changes it.
That's true, yeah.
Identify, address, review.
How many, no more letters?
Yeah, I want to.
Oh, I don't
One extra letter.
But W is probably.
Okay. The next value is we inspire lifelong learning. The goal there is JMRL will promote learning at every stage of life, both at the library and in the community. The board strategy will be to offer a diverse range of programs, resources, and services aimed at creating a culture of inclusion. Promote literacy of all kinds through programming and access to library resources. And expand outreach services within a coordinated regional framework.
No notes.
No notes, okay? We cultivate a welcoming environment for community engagement. The goal is JMR will work with stakeholders to provide modern, accessible, and safe spaces for staff and patrons. This is the other one that also deals with facilities and some stuff. Evaluate and address the accessibility, availability, and safety of existing spaces. Educate stakeholders about the funding structures and operational needs of JMRL. Work with jurisdictional partners to preserve and update aging library facilities.
Thumbs up.
Is just kidding.
Oh, the facility.
Yeah, so
I saw it and then I was like, keep them up. You're not gonna have trouble today.
work with jurisdictional partners to preserve and update aging library facilities. It's about our current building, so like the Scottsville Library, right?
Yeah, that's different from.
Other
what
one
we
is
said about
expanding.
Review the need for expanded and updated. Should it be expanding and updating?
Or just
Address-
expanding.
Address the need for expanding and updating.
No, we need, the need is for facilities and it's not expanding facilities, like facilities are expanding. The expanded. I feel like it would be either to expand and update facilities or the way it is.
Is there another word for facilities?
Yeah, I just think they sound too
Similar.
similar.
Buildings.
If we have to
Buildings,
dig
yeah.
back
Physical
through,
buil- they're buildings.
if we have to dig back through our notes in order to explain to people what we're talking about here, then it's probably not working, right?
The problem with buildings is mobile services, so.
But
I'm talking about buildings here.
No,
You're talking
I'm talking about
buildings here.
Yeah.
Aging library buildings. Sure.
I mean, but then again, our aging facilities also include the bookmobile van, the box trucks.
But we already,
I guess it's not a facility.
Yeah, this one is, we're talking about right here,
Bricks and mortar, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the central library.
pretty much.
I think it's the same buildings there, and
So in the brown one, we would turn it to change it to building.
I think that gives it a little bit different, but it, and I think I saw facilities twice enough.
Yeah.
It's her facility.
Also aging.
I know, I was wondering if you wanted to keep that
I
in.
mean, I'm sorry, update is in both.
Oh, update.
Yeah, but now we're also using address. I mean, we're using the same word everywhere.
Okay.
I don't think we should get too caught up on.
As we've spent a year working on this.
But I mean, I think it's sort of like address, review, update, those are all the things that we should be doing, the positive. Right?
Correct. Okay, we're gonna
Ripping
change that word
apart.
to buildings.
Building. Not getting smaller.
All right, the green value is we provide free, equitable, open access to information. The goals are JMRL will facilitate discovery and delivery of a wide range of materials in a variety of formats. And the library will adopt new technologies to meet the changing needs of the community. Strategies were ensure that all resources provided to the community reflect diversity and support freedom to read. Promote awareness and discoverability of library resources, adapting to meet patrons' information seeking behavior. We had a long talk about discoverability.
Yes.
So I don't know if that word means anything, people, but it's a great word. Provide the JMRL staff with the resources needed to deliver adaptable, flexible library service to the community. Educate and provide equitable access to existing and emerging technologies. You good?
Probably discoverability is our really dark paper, but
Yes, pretty jarring.
it has.
But I think people will read it and even.
Number in it, so
Yeah,
it's kind of friendly and accepting.
Yeah.
Have a grammatical rule which might be only my own.
Okay.
Educate and provide equitable access to. So parallel construction, educate existing technologies. It should be educate about, and that sounds weird, but. But if you take out and provide equitable access to. We're gonna need something after educate. Or provide equitable access to and education.
Yeah.
I remember not solving this last time we looked at it.
No, it's one of those, I think it was trying to do like maybe a little splash. And it's kind of bowing under the pressure.
And then maybe, maybe it is, I think that we notice most people are. It gets the point across.
So, is there anywhere else that says that we educate about what we have?
Educate stakeholders, but I think.
About provide equitable access and
And
educate
training
the public.
Provide equitable access
And training.
And training.
for existing.
Yes. Training.
No, I think we went from training to educate.
But we already have educate, we don't really have training.
Provide equitable access and training for
Yes.
the training or like that.
It's really good.
Like. Education's good. Shouldn't all be here. We just
So what
think
we're
that
saying is, provide equitable access and training for existing and emerging technologies.
So then access for technology is okay? Yeah, cool, great, I'm okay with it. If you're okay with it.
All right, so you brought up the problem, so.
This is the smaller problem.
Where are you commenting?
On the parallel staff objectives for both, all the things that we've been, I've added comments on the word review, added comments to say address,
Thank you.
facilities, building, comments on that whole last thing. I will say, the parallel staff objectives, I think they're in order of how they're listed on the website, which is different than how it's listed here.
That's fine, we've got.
So, but if you want to move those around and be left or right, up and down,
Yeah.
like,
We can do that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
it took me a while to find where these were, because they weren't in, like.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this was the hard work of taking all that information and distilling it down to these concepts for the board. That's pretty good. We only have a few weeks here at the last minute.
And it's nice to be able to read it like this, because it really doesn't. Then we have figure it over.
Yeah.
So
It's color.
the second page here,
Were these all goals that were in the last strategic plan that you picked up at a conference?
yeah,
And I like that a lot.
And
Like,
you look at what all we did.
Yeah.
this is why we plan
And we don't have anything to report about that.
on here.
Maybe not.
I'd have to look back and see
Nothing
what,
brag worthy.
I'd have to look back and see what the goals are, but it's probably not gonna be bragg.
And also, these are the outward facing things that people want to hear about, they don't necessarily.
But I hear your point, it's one of our stakeholders, but on staff,
Yeah. Times.
Well, we have to hear that we got paid more. I don't know if they care.
In our goals, right?
we have it in this set of. Back in the last 5 years.
It was to like review and just,
Who was addressing? I should address it.
review evaluating. Review.
Okay, a library for all. Jefferson Madison Regional Library System spans 5 localities, nearly 2,000 square miles of central Virginia. 8 branches and a bookmobile provide library service to more than 200,000 residents in the communities of Albemarle, Madison counties, as well as the city of Charlottesville.
I have just one quibble. And that's Charlottesville's kind of a raised. It is not part of Albemarle County. I know we may have run out of colors in the map. Yeah, we may have run out of colors, but. Charlottesville is separate.
We need like a little circle in the middle. And we don't have that on our website either. It's possible being is a little bit in a block.
I mean, this is,
I
I
have
identify branches.
Yeah.
It can't do both. There's not,
Yeah.
there's just not room for
Well,
all
it
of
already
it.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely, it's the same exact thing as what's here, though.
Yeah.
We do have kind of a little blip on the website.
The Gray Center,
This is the
yeah.
Gray Center of Charlottesville. My only, on the text is I think it maybe got cut out because of space. But in our first initial draft text block, we included something about the digital library in 8 branches. So that got cut out. And I know later on we do mention online access, but like part of our goal.
That's one of our largest growing.
I mean, it's the most used branch period right now. It outpaces Northside every month now.
I was just reading something from the during the
Okay, well, let's tackle those one at a time. Was somebody about to say there is something shown in Charlottesville?
Yeah, and it's a different, so green is green.
I was wondering about the.
could be literal colors.
No, but I'm just wondering, why didn't we just use the same one?
Because because we don't have a high resolution version of that. And we, needed something we could work with in the document we were in, so he redid it. And we were trying to have softer colors.
I'm just like, it seems like this is,
It is pretty cute having green be green. But I just, I just feel like one of our stakeholders are the governments, have no acknowledgement and sort of stuff, right?
Yes, that's a good point.
But, and if there is a,
You can't really.
not a dare
I mean, you can see there's a little circle there. It looks a little small since Gordon Avenue is barely in it.
that's probably true. We are really engulfed by Albemarle County.
Jennifer, can you take a look at that and see if there's a way to visualize?
Well, he will have to do it, and he's not a map maker necessarily. I mean, I don't know, I'll ask him. But
So if you could make a high resolution from scratch, why can't you make this one high resolution? I guess that's my question. Like, you said this is in
no,
high
we don't just
resolution.
make it high resolution, we have to remake it.
Okay.
And I've used the same color.
Oh, okay.
Because we were trying to do something else here.
Okay.
Tony has to go.
Hi, Tony.
To Meredith's point, though, that is one of the funding jurisdictions that one city council to look at and say,
Right. But then, do we also need to make Albemarle clear, like what parts are Albemarle?
No, I think your point is we're not labeling it, so it doesn't have to say, this is Charlottesville, but maybe it could be like a different gradation of green or something, like, or a gray or something. I don't know, but there's something that.
yeah, I mean, similar to what we're naming are the branches. So I don't
Yeah.
think, Jennifer, to your concern, I don't think we need to say this is Albemarle. So it happens that the Louisa branch is in Louisa and the Nelson branch is in Nelson and the Green branch is in Nelson.
Right.
We don't have an Albemarle.
Okay, so some kind of gradation, or, I'm just trying to think of what I'm asking you to do.
I'm making this up because I don't actually know what our.
Yeah.
What our.
I just like sometimes have to be very specific on what I'm asking them to do, and if I don't really know, it's harder.
All we want here is some little color differentiation that shows the city of Charlottesville. And
Okay.
Well, this would be the example.
Yes.
It's something else like something circling Central and Gordon Avenue dots. That's kind of what it looks like here on the map.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much. it.
Okay, maybe brown, maybe that brown color that's in some of the, I don't know. Something.
If you,
It does, but trying to look on the side, it's the same, it's supposed to.
Jennifer, if you have a concern about it, we could rename, like on the website here, they're called Green County Library. You know?
Yeah, we were trying to reduce. volume.
Yeah, so if
yeah.
that's a concern, we could rename.
Yeah, no, I think it could be, even just sort of a lightning that's almost
like-
like.
Yeah.
Like a lighter. Yeah, the light means, I think, not too, noticeable, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think that's the right direction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
I don't know, I think that's efficient, it just said, oh, yes, we're right there.
Yeah, okay.
Because we don't, well, we do name it in the text here too.
Yeah, but we also kind of name it as well as.
And the digital library.
Just fine.
Well, it's just, you know. like,
No, I think that's fine,
It's
just for
together and.
that, well,
Why do we? Well,
The wording of the communities of Albemarle, Green, Louisa, and Nelson counties, like, I don't know why that. Communities and counties, maybe I'm just reading
We
it,
can get rid of the communities, I mean,
residents
in the counties
of
of,
Albemarle.
Yeah, I don't even think you need city of them, just do Albemarle, Charlottesville, Green, Louisa, and Nelson.
oh, so just use communities instead of saying
I
county
would
and city.
say. You wanna take care of communities and say counties?
I can
You
do
going
jurisdictions, municipalities, newspapers.
Yeah, I was trying to use like more accessible words.
Yeah.
Friendly, jurisdictions.
I'd say in the counties of Albemarle, Green, Louisa, and Nelson.
And the city of Charlottesville. I did feel like as well as is a little.
It's an add-on.
And I'll get rid of two, so we get a drink,
Yeah,
we get to drink now.
Yeah.
Okay, so residents in the counties of, and then say, and. The city of.
Do we need this?
Am I the only prickly resident of Charlottesville on the call?
No, I think that's a good trend, that, yeah, county government.
Yeah, I'm not, okay. I don't think we need communities, I don't think we need, I think we can say Charlottesville, Albemarle, Green, Louisa, and Nelson, all of our.
You seem to say residents in Albemarle, Green, Louisa, Nelson, and Charlottesville.
Yeah.
It's just a little, I think it's a slightly informal, and if we're handing this to someone who isn't already in it, it's a nice, it's just, these are the counties, like, nowhere else
That's
do we
fine.
say.
They don't know
It's
what
an
else.
actual.
Digital library.
if we were trimming some words, if there's any way to get it back in there. 8 branches, so what we had in the draft text was 8 branches of bookmobile and 24-hour digital library service.
Okay, let's not do the 24-hour part.
We already say that later.
Yeah.
So we could just say, 8 branches, bookmobile, comma, mobile. And digital library provide.
And
A digital.
And a digital library.
Yeah, I think that's.
So bullet points. Maybe does
No, they're more of a design thing to
separate.
separate, yeah. It was larger. You don't need them. We were just trying to have space, a little more white space everywhere.
I think it's more than 200,000 total residents. I think
45,000 just in
it's like
Charlottesville.
230. I'm not sure. It's over 200,000, it's not 250.
More than 230?
Let me double check.
Like, I've heard somewhere that Albemarle was like, what did they, 120?
Yeah, I'm not
We're
sure.
at 45, that doesn't leave very much for.
It's like 30-ish.
Say,
Yeah,
over.
Yeah.
Over it works. So I mean, that's just under 500,000 items, because Meredith showed it was gonna leave too much.
Just wait till the end of the year, I'll get it back up to 500,000.
Oh, you had to say that.
Because it's not, for years it was 500,000 and then we dipped under.
It still says 500,000 on the history page, but
That's not correct. You can see in your.
Email
monthly
web
reports.
managers.
Yeah, So if we wanted to quibble about that, it could be around 500,000, but that sounds.
Approximately.
Okay.
Can I count that? No, no one's gonna check. I would,
We
you know,
mentioned every month.
my whole thing was like, but didn't you just add a few more today?
But there's also, Sierra, how many boxes of books going to Better World Books?
15.
So come in, they go out.
We need expanded facilities to expand our holdings.
Okay, let's leave that. I think those are good tweaks at the top. We have some leeway here. We can, the full board might turn around and decide they want something.
Go back the
bigger.
other way. We're at 193,000.
So we got a ways to go. It is definitely under. This is a new concept for this group.
I have 260,000 people in our jurisdiction,
Where'd you get that from?
2022. Or if you're related to what the.
Fact check. Let's look here, because this is new. This came out of discussions that Jennifer and I were having and that various subcommittees were having, so this is new for the full committee. It's this concept of the types of literacy that we are addressing. There's a lot of talk about like what the library, the concept here was to tell people, here's what the library does for you. Here are the things that we're doing. This, we'll figure it out.
Sorry.
Down the line. So Jennifer did a great job here with this, worked back and forth on this. Talked about our programs, our resources, and our services. So our programs are story times, book, these are just examples. Book clubs, craft groups, informational seminars. There's more stuff that could go there. Those are the ones that we chose to highlight, but now Greg holds your piece on this and it has to fit exactly letter for letter.
Yeah, this was the hardest part, by the way. This took like probably 3 weeks for us to find like a graphical way to organize this that was logical and
So don't make any suggestions.
you know,
Resources, physical and digital books, audiobooks, DVDs, media streaming, informational displays, services, reference assistance from professionally trained librarians, readers advisory, technical support. And then that goes out to support these 8 forms of literacy. So there's early literacy, story time, STEM activities, summer reading, 1,000 books from kindergarten. Informational literacy, displays, wayfinding, research assistance with librarians, instructional materials. Digital literacy, computer access, digital navigation, computer skills and cybersecurity classes. Currently doing any cybersecurity classes?
We just did.
Sold. Financial literacy, financial planning resources and classes, partnerships for free financial counseling, tax preparation. Health literacy, health kits to check out, partnership with local health community for screenings and seminars. Civic literacy, census data, information on local government and community organizations, citizenship prep. Cultural literacy, preservation of records and cultural heritage, diverse collections, social opportunities. Lifelong literacy, outreach and programming to support continuous learning in all phases of life. Love it. I think it's very, when people say, oh, it's just a warehouse for books, but this is a very good way of showing, look at all this stuff that's helping you navigate the world.
Input.
But
Input.
what do you got?
Tech assistant is missing from digital literacy, and we can do that a lot, like a lot. And that's one of the things that, like, I think we got to get there.
Under digital literacy,
Digital literacy, yeah.
computer skills doesn't cover digital navigation and computer skills.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, computer skills.
Totally sure.
I know, I don't feel like that really, not sure if that.
So should it be technical assistance rather than digital navigation?
Probably.
But I think more people understand what that is versus digital
I think
navigation.
in the next 5 years, they're gonna know navigation is more.
But they don't know what artificial intelligence.
Right now, if you said tech help, people would be like, oh, that.
Yeah, they know
that,
what
right?
I think that,
Yeah.
All right. Jalen, your case, nope, all right.
Okay, so
take out digital.
Digital navigation and put in tech help.
like, I think if we're gonna say
That'll
cybersecurity
work.
classes, which we offer intermittently at best.
We do tech help every single day, several times.
Tech help or tech, either one.
Or
technology, because technical.
Whichever one fits, tech help or tech assistance, whichever one fits. Yeah, with technology, tech help.
Tech as a full word. I
I
don't
think
think
it's
we-
more friendly.
Yeah, I think it's more like what people would say.
That sounds very friendly. When you
Yeah.
not know how to work something. Tech sounds more friendly than digital
And
navigation.
also, I can follow with technical assistance and technology assistance, and so this covers it.
Wayfinding was also like.
What is that?
Okay,
But where,
I work here and I'm not sure.
that's under information literacy.
is it like
It's-
GPS?
No, it's,
Oh, we were thinking about signage.
signage and
And then like wayfinding is part of like, helping people navigate.
Yeah, we offer that in the digital library.
I don't know, I felt like, again, if we're saying maybe, when the discoverability is too much, like wayfinding definitely doesn't make sense to most people.
so what is the concept we're trying to get out there?
It's that, it's,
We're helping connect people to materials, we're showing them how to get something.
I feel like, is
That's
that,
navigation.
yeah,
if you want was, they were trying, you wanted to have like discoverability, like that's part of the information.
But you're not saying discoverability.
Wait, are you
Yeah.
saying it's my fault?
Yeah, I am saying it's something we needed to explain. But how is wayfinding different from research?
I think because.
So that I think it's that like with signage, people can figure things out for themselves in a way. It's like discoverability, have the sign there, they can find it.
Well, this will take out a few words that maybe the
with librarians.
displays, research assistance, comma. I mean, I don't know with the library, because I'm wondering research assistant with librarians.
We thought that was weird too.
I think we were trying to express how.
Librarians are the
This
ones.
is what, yeah, this is
Yeah.
what the library gives you, is that you have trained librarians who are helping you,
Yeah.
But
that's
Professional research.
And that's kind of, yeah, like, I think those are the two things that we're trying to express there. We help you find things for yourself and we assist you. I train,
How about losing wayfinding, saying professional research assistants, displays, professional research assistants, and instructional material.
I also didn't know, but whenever I see information literacy, I think one of the main things that we do is we help people evaluate resources. And I didn't know if that was like.
that's why we wanted to say librarians, I think, was the,
Yeah.
but I know that's like kind of implying a lot of,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Because we also teach classes on that, like we've done on that before.
That's a good point.
That's a really strong thing that libraries do. And we're also providing like evaluated resources by providing like the types of resources.
Yeah, I kind of think about it as embedding.
We do have, under services, sorry, we do have, this is for professionally trained librarians.
Right.
And services, so.
Right, so the reference assistants over there, and then they're.
It might be
research
implied
is
under.
implied.
information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so if we did displays, instructional materials, and
Professional research.
I would think.
that's not getting to
Yeah,
the
nothing.
evaluated, the kind of edited resources, I think is what you're trying to get to.
Yeah, and also. Yeah, I mean, like, I think.
And that's an important concept, everybody's concerned about fake news and those things. It is something that the library tell people. Distinguish between these things. We do have to, it has to be about that same size. I think what Mary Dickens was saying is we don't need the research assistants at all, because that's already in the service.
Right.
So it could be displays, instructional materials. Professionally, I mean, curated is the word I would use, but you would probably say like wayfinding and discoverability, that's an inside baseball.
No, I think curated is
Verifiable.
more of a thing.
Verifiable might be better.
People would know what verifiable means more than curated.
I think.
Curated to be a
Verified.
collection of artwork
We're verifying.
Because the other thing is, we're not verifying all the information is true. because
But we're
we-
verifying resources.
Yeah, we're verifying.
Sources. Yeah.
Displays, instructional materials, and access to professionally curated information.
That's what seems very wishy-washy to me.
I would have never guessed. Curating seems more like you're curating a collection, curating. It's not a, it's not
like,
a
I
label.
selected this poster.
Label.
Based on my, we want to put it in English, like, the regular people talk.
But to Haley's point, like, we're not verifying the veracity of everything. Like, if somebody comes in and they say, I want this book, I want an eclipse denial book, that says that the eclipse doesn't exist, we will help them find that, and we can verify that that is what they are looking for, but it's not saying that the eclipse didn't happen.
We have books that aren't true.
Yeah, no,
Whole
they're not all in
section,
fiction.
right?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that because we had a history book that some guy found and he challenged it because he was like, the information in this book is
It's
wrong.
wrong.
We were like, this is this person's account of this thing, and we don't fact check every book that's on our shelves, but.
Okay, we need to, let's wrap something, let's come to something here, so. Natasha and Alita, hop in here at any minute.
They're just keeping their head
Give
down.
us the answer.
I'm just gonna say that we need to keep in mind that this part is for the general public. So
Yeah.
making pretty words and different stuff, like it needs to be for your average person on the street. So it needs to be plain speak. And if you have to explain the word you're trying to use, then it's probably not the right
not the word.
choice.
Mm.
Okay, so then the correct word is, you muted yourself already before you finished that.
Well, I'm trying to follow along with what everyone's talking about. So exactly what section are we working on right now? Because I can't always hear clearly.
We're under information literacy there. Yeah, I can share this. And it is, displays, wayfinding, research assistance with librarians, and instructional materials. The conversation started because we felt wayfinding was not something that the general public would know what that means.
I agree.
We also decided
Yeah.
that we don't need the research assistance with librarians because under services, it already says reference assistance from professionally trained librarians. So that leaves us with displays and instructional materials. And the concept that we're trying to get to is that the library can provide you with information that has been vetted. They can tell you this is an accurate source of information. So the words were vet, they were curate, they were verified.
And I think that could be taken wrong, honestly, depending on the information you're providing. Like it almost implies that we're saying whatever book or something we might hand you, that yes, you can trust
Right.
the information that's in it. And we all know people create what they want to hear. So I don't know how like hearing vetted and stuff like that almost sounds like we're guaranteeing what you're getting is correct. Like that might be too broadly taken.
Do you think that curated collections, like, sounds too jargony?
Because
I
I
do.
come from a museum background, curated never makes sense to me outside of a museum. So I may not be the best one for that.
Lita, did you just say yes?
I said, yeah, the curated, I don't think the general public would probably understand that word. Just,
So,
they might,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
so I guess one of the reasons that the, professional research assistance was in there was because it was kind of trying to help express the, information literacy is about learning how to distinguish, like that we're showing people like, if you're doing research, you need to, check here, you need to check here, and here are some resources for that, so that you can learn how to evaluate this. Like, we give you the tools to do that. It's really hard to say all of this. And that's why I think we
I
had
think-
originally included
I
that.
think I would fall back on that too. So we go to displays, professionally,
Professional research.
yeah, like, professional research assistants and instructional materials, like that.
What if education was in there?
Yeah, like,
Informational education or informational, as part of that, research assistance and instruction with professional librarians.
Sure.
Because, I feel like we do, that is part of it. It's like when we're showing you how to use resources, we're instructing you how to use them, but then we're also showing you how you can use them later. It gets at that education component that
okay,
Meredith was
so
talking about.
what's the whole sentence? So we would say,
And I think you should maybe leave it at professional research assistance and instruction. Maybe educational materials instead of instructional materials. We already used instruction. And displays at the end. I feel like,
I think to me, the real value add is the professional. It's like, that is probably what everyone's like, that's the value that the libraries provide. Yeah, right. It displays, well, there's lots of energy to put into them, thinking that it's valued by the public.
well, it depends. And, yeah, like if you go look at, depends on this. Some of them are just these books, whatnot. Some of them are something like the history of the library out there.
yeah,
So what I'm hearing, professional research assistance and instruction, educational materials and displays.
Yeah.
You want to try and see if that works, Jennifer, and if it doesn't, you and I can.
Yeah,
Alright.
I mean, the part of, and I need to say this about, a lot of things, just adding it here, I can't tell what's gonna happen when the graphic designer goes and tries to do this. And he, may come back to me with some problem, and then we'll have to talk about it.
Yeah, okay, well, let's try, that's the language we want.
Okay.
You got that language?
Yep.
Haley, was there anything else, any other feedback you got?
one of them was under cultural literacy, the preservation of records and cultural heritage. Two things like, where, what, who's doing that?
We did that whole preservation week where we took people's family Bibles and stuff and fixed them up. We've got the VHS conversion, we've got the slide conversion. Got all sorts of things where you can take kind of your cultural or personal materials and help you mostly preserve them or digitally convert them.
But you're not keeping them at the library, because that's what it sounds like.
Well, the Historical Society library is part of this,
Yeah,
right?
some of them.
We don't really mention them anywhere, but they're part of it.
It depends where we are. In Nelson County, the historical society collections in.
And Louisa's.
They have a genealogy section.
Too.
It's
Yeah.
also small, yeah.
That might,
Louisa does,
Louisa's got a whole.
But you're also you're directing them to,
Hold on, go ahead, Alita.
I said, the librarian and the staff, they may be directing them to other resources that may not be housed within that building. So, and I think that's part of, the cultural literacy too. Maybe making suggestions as to other types of resources that they can use.
Yeah, and that social opportunities also meets in there. So if you're having like a festival on some sort of, some levels. So actually, I'm okay with that. I think it works. I think to Latasha's point, it requires an explanation, but everything here, yeah. If somebody came in and said to your staff, I don't think they're going to ask them, what does this mean? But our staff should know. So we'll do some messaging out to our staff.
And I wanted to ask what everyone thinks about this. We had purposely left off at the end of each of these because these are not exhaustive. Right. There's more. I felt like adding and made it sound like and it stops there. Yeah.
Right, because early literacy could be this whole, like, there's so much stuff.
There is one in digital.
I think that's.
Because it's, yeah, combined your skills and cybersecurity classes.
Okay, so under cultural literacy, I would also say social and educational opportunities. Because the other thing is, I feel like one of the huge things that we do is that our programs are really representative of cultural literacy. We do like, you know, welcoming week is all about like learning about different places. We partner with like festivals and stuff. But also just like a lot of our programs have that trying to, and that's one of our outcomes in the program stats is like cultural
Right.
awareness.
If you needed to make room for that, I might take out and cultural heritage, that kind of makes me a
Well,
little
'cause-
odd. Conservation of records versus collection.
Yeah, it's
Social
hard
and
to
educational.
visualize cultural heritage. I
Sure.
would agree in that.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, but that seems
Yeah.
fair trade.
I mean, we've already did cultural there.
Yeah, I agree.
For the census data under civic literacy, we just feel like where, we just hold civic, census data somewhere, like.
Yeah, we help people access. Yeah.
Okay, that's the only part that I was like, what?
Under the information literacy then, Jennifer, make sure you take out the and, because I think I threw an and in there.
Okay, the and.
Yeah.
Also thought that maybe under programs, instead of like craft groups, you could write workshop. I feel like that's a lot
Oh,
more
sure.
encompassing
Where's
than
that?
craft groups is the top of programs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your word instead?
Workshops.
Yeah, much better.
That's again one of the ones.
Because craft programs, because it's too specific in a way too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just on social.
And Jessica had also written like educational social events, like I guess educational seminars. I don't know. I was just trying to think my way around that too. It's like another component that I see at the library a lot that also kind of like learn connect part. The social component of a lot of our programs is kind of a big deal. So I didn't know if there was a way to like story times, book clubs, workshops.
I think that's why social opportunities is under.
Yeah, I did notice that afterwards. I noticed that.
It's fair.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Informational seminars.
Seminars is like, made up the right word.
Yeah, I don't like seminars. I think workshops also. Informational.
Yeah, that might actually. So. Classes? What's that about?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of, like, the arts and craftsy things are sort of a certain audience, and then a lot of the information ones are kind of, you know, it's about like finances or, water safety or, you know.
Yeah.
It's different.
Discussion is probably not the right word, because sometimes it's somebody. Programs is the word we're looking for, but it's under programs, so, that's what we would just call a program.
What if we said like, yeah, she also said education. I was like,
Education, the event,
I think community events is. Social
how's that?
part of the.
Oh, we could, that would
The event.
be good
The
there.
events instead of.
Workshops,
Yeah.
information events.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that too.
I think you just bring, because you're just mentioning.
Yeah, that's
Community and the community comes up.
Yeah.
Maybe putting it front.
Yeah.
Also, the community events can be so many things.
Yeah. It's like our program. Program.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like using that word.
I think.
Yeah,
it's
more, yeah, more focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, that's kind of also the justification for why you are community room.
Is it a community event? No.
Try again.
Okay, anything else, Haley, from your staff? Thank you.
No,
for
I think
sharing.
that was good.
All right, a lot of good tweaks here. As I said, the library board is probably gonna have their own set of tweaks for that. So our goal is to give them enough time to do that.
That final in June, so we think in April we could give them a draft.
Yes,
These changes.
I think ideally we would give them a draft incorporating the changes that we discussed today.
Yeah.
And the handouts usually post a week, they would post a week from Monday. So our deadline to have those changes are a week from Monday.
Can I go back to these changes on the back page, that the only thing that I'm concerned about, I don't know that we really give it enough space to put a square near this circle. I don't want to lose the size of these circles. We had them smaller before and you really couldn't read what they were. So we will try it, and like we may have to come up with a different solution. So
I
I just wanted to put that.
I would be happy enough as a compromise if it said JMRL's next 5 years and JMRL.org was up.
Okay,
So try it.
Yeah.
Meredith, what do you think about that?
I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think it's better than what we have now in terms of getting the name of the library out there.
Mhm.
So try it, see what it looks like.
And also once you remove this at the bottom, it'll probably. Although I
Just
just
a
feel
little
really
bit.
nice about a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
David, on the timing, when you say a week from Monday, a
Yes.
week from Monday is the board meeting. Because the board meeting is on the 22nd.
You're right. So Monday is our deadline.
Okay.
Monday the 15th.
Yes, thank you.
I'll clarify because it's.
I don't, we could put what we have now in the handouts for the board and then show them an updated version of it and
Okay.
share it out.
Yeah, because I'm seeing him tomorrow. He may be able to show me something on Friday, but it turns out that he doesn't have the kind of time that he told me he had.
You and I can talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, ideally, we would have those all incorporated and ready to share. With all the changes we've discussed today, are we ready to recommend this to the library board? We don't have to take a vote, I'm just seeking, is there anybody who thinks this is the bad idea, we need to start over?
No.
Please, dear God, no.
No,
I was gonna say, you can do it there.
Yeah, this makes sense.
Okay.
no starting over.
Okay, great. So, we will try to incorporate those changes and share them out with this whole group here. And then after that, probably what you're doing is sending feedback to Meredith and I, and we're relating that to the full board. We're letting them make the decision about the words.
And you did get the van here?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think we have time to get too in-depth in this. I want to respect everybody's time today.
So I don't know if you have this too, but she also circled the on with the dash at the end. That's this.
Oh, online. Yeah. Do get that word.
Okay.
So, thank you to the small group that has been working on these parallel staff objectives. These are not tied to the same board deadline here, but it would be nice to be able at the same time to show the library staff, like here's what we have. As Meredith pointed out, they're not ever gonna look as pretty as the 5-year plan is, but they are not a finished product, but I think that the concepts are there. And the goal is gonna be, so each one of these is an objective. Natasha, correct me if I don't get that right, but we've got the value, in red is the goal, in black is the board strategy, and then these are gonna be the staff objectives. And each one, we wanna have a timeline, an outcome that we're looking for, and then who the responsible party is for staff. So it's very clear, this should be done by this date, by this person or group of people, and here's what we're looking for. Okay, I haven't done any of that for any of these yet, that's to be determined, but what these small group met 2 times, and who was on that? Myself, Kayla, Meredith, Latasha, Susan sometimes, Pearl I think once, but Pearl couldn't make it today. So
Oh, and they had the.
yeah, it's got a little small thing going on. So he's at work.
Oh, right,
Uh,
job.
So I don't feel the need to go through and read all of these at this point because we've only got about 10 minutes left here, but maybe what we could do is set a separate meeting, we'll work on this.
Is there a separate committee that's going to be tackling these that are?
Yeah. This has been the committee that I just mentioned, has been working on this.
The mini, and then
Yeah.
Meredith Dickens.
Yes, yes. We was checking to make sure.
I was like, did I blank out?
I think what happened is that we got to the end of the list with the, like, here are all the concepts that we think that staff need to do in order to help the board meet its goals here. And we wanted to share it with everybody else, in order to, and Jennifer, you came to some of these meetings as well, right? In order to make sure that we're not missing anything. So this can be a review. I'll go through it briefly here, but what we would appreciate, I think, is eyes on it, and then we'll take it back and work on it some more. Okay? So for the identifying underserved populations and work to bring library services to them by networking with community organizations, we want to have a measurable objective about school partnerships, card holderships, access to digital resources. So this was a holdover from the last 5-year plan. It was always my dream that the kids enter kindergarten in all 5 of our jurisdictions. They automatically get a card. Not that easy. We have different levels of cooperation with different school systems, but we had a pilot in Nelson that Susan worked on that was successful in this. And we've got some smaller jurisdictions where it's possible, but it's not happening on an automatic basis. It's like all the kids come to the library comes to the school. That's okay. And we frequently get a question about access to digital resources, which are tied to individual library cards now, and whether or not there's a way to open those up. There's really not. By our licensing, you know, we're not allowed to give like a card that says your whole school can have access to these resources. It has to be by individual, but we can work with schools to try to figure out ways.
And I think it should be on kindergarten because we do have a lot of to this point.
Especially with, you know, IRC families in Charlottesville or just people moving in and out, JAG school. Okay, make partnership opportunities more visible, shareable. So the policy committee is talking about partnerships right now, but that's one of the things that come up, like how do people know that they can partner with the library? How do they request partnership with the library? And it's the library determine. So just putting a better. There's a lot of discussion about partnerships in general. Identify and expand partnerships, look to regional staff, reference staff, especially outreach staff, to what end? Yeah, I think we were discussing this.
Right, it was
Yeah.
just, I guess. You know, right now, bookmobiles, services is, most of the bookmobiles are like having that department that is
And
outreach and community focus.
We talked about the need to update our data and GIS work about who our community is and who we're serving.
Have a database for that.
What?
Got software for that.
Great.
I learned about.
Great.
I think you can get data.
You can get them there in the library except for president. And then we are, JMRL is involved in the digital equity coalition. It just changed. It was born out of Albemarle County's Office of Broadband, but now it's a separate entity. We are on the steering committee for that. And there's going to be a plan coming out that we're going to be involved in. So just to codify for our staff, like here's what we're going to be doing. I said I wasn't going to do this, so. But here we are. Review the need for expanded updated facilities, including mobile services.
My comment addressed, we're gonna change that if needed, yeah. We're
Yeah,
changing it on the plan.
Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Needs assessment for service locations, growth for services. So, you know, where we're gonna need more bookmobile service, more branches, things like that. Bookmobile awareness. We frequently hear this, that people aren't aware that the bookmobile is always open to the public, like a parks at an assisted living facility, that it is a stop, anybody can come and use it, but the public's not aware of that. So just trying to make sure that, and frequently we hear questions about service in Pantops, and we stop at places there that aren't, that the public thinks that they're private.
So, but are the stops published somewhere?
Yes, on our website, we've got a handout,
There's a schedule?
we've got a schedule, we've got a Google map. They're out there, but when people see it, they think, oh, it's here servicing that community.
Because it'll be like an.
It'll be an
living
assisted
facility.
living.
Yeah, I would definitely think that if I was
Yes.
ready by it. Yeah.
Yes.
Do they have any kind of like? Yeah, it's all, I don't.
Yeah.
That's potentially an outcome.
All right, well, not this committee, but I can just, you know, exactly. That's it, but that's a great point, though, that people don't know.
Yeah, I think that it's doing it.
I would assume that too, 'cause I would
Right, you
just
saw it
assume, like-
marked at our new pieces.
You know, I tried to get on it, in the voting box, it's locked, I don't understand.
DMV, whenever they come, they have the, DMV is here today. They have this little stickers, not even a sandwich board, it's smaller than that, it's just like little, like round signs.
Stick them in the yard.
I hate to say it, but he has a lot further to go, friendliness.
You should come to the
Outreach.
library, because they're, people
Outreach.
that go there, are great.
Yeah, you nice folks. And then looking at the data we're gonna get from the Nelson kiosk, combining that with needs analysis, like, does this work? Where do we need one of these if we're gonna, this is a service model that we can support.
We've given it a minute.
Give it a few months. Well, the biggest thing is how we're gonna support this regionally. You know, if we put one of these in Zion's Crossroad, it's not, like, the Louisa staff is not. gonna be able to
They don't
serve.
drive by there.
And in Nelson, we've got staff that are driving by that one that's working out for now, but if we're gonna do a bunch of these, we need to be able to support them and how we do that. Okay, we need staff input on JMRL's comp plans. We need to develop a stepped comp plan, and we need to get money for a stepped comp plan. Those are pretty straightforward. So ensure that all resources provided to the community reflect its diversity and support its freedom to read. We're talking about using data to analyze the collection here. I can't remember the specific outcome, so that has to be revisited.
And should the new data about our community be pulled into this, like?
Yeah, potentially.
Find more sensitive data, so
Yeah.
for instance, if we suddenly do a thing like, oh, the IRC now we have a certain number of Afghani residents, like, do we have anything in our collection for them, or?
We have been doing that on an informal basis. And it's very difficult because every year is a different community. Sometimes getting materials. Challenge, right? But there are certainly things that we can do in advance that will know what language is being spoken by the folks that are coming in. So that's a good point. So kind of cross-check that, cross-reference that.
Well, just an idea, I think an idea of who within our community is always just a good evaluation before we say, yes, we reflect it.
This is already up above. The data GIS work is in 2 places. So important. I think that's kind of, this is what we were thinking about to address. Yeah, you're talking about. Frequency of collection development plan, does it need revising? Does it need to happen during this 5-year period? Making reconsideration data accessible to staff. So that's something that we've got a committee working on now. But frequently we have staff that haven't heard about challenges, or they want to know what's our history of challenges. So just making that available for our staff to be able to talk about.
Data GIS work there again for another reason, or is that just?
No, I think it was specifically about the collection, so kind of to what Meredith was just talking about, like who is our community and how does our collection need to, so we can get rid of the other one probably. The other one has to do with
The library.
the services, basically. So I think there's room for
So
both of those.
the data GIS is, that's about like, do we have libraries where the people are?
So that one is.
That one is. Don't have people do it like.
Yeah, it would be like 2 different uses for the data.
Yeah, if the data.
Yeah, got a vendor.
Kayla went to a big conference and there are people that we send all of our needs for
All the money.
All the money. Well, you know, there's a lot of books this week.
They sure
So
are.
I.
Cultivate staff input recommendations to the collections. We've got some things in place and just bolster those. We've got collection liaisons at the branches that have access to discretionary spending, but we'd like to strengthen that. Flatten a little bit there so that the people at the branch level know what the needs of their are, the ones that can get better than regional. Okay, we talked a lot about PR, how are people finding information, how to promote library services, so that's probably a plan of some sort. Targeting PR information is already in the works, it's branch level newsletters and the welcome journey. Yeah, it's like when you first get your card, you'll start to get messaging from us that says, welcome to JMRL. And if you're interested in, here's the next level of like, oh, you want to hear about programs? Here it is. And, oh, your card's going to expire.
Coming
How do
soon
you
to
consider
Baltic.
donating $1 billion? Provide staff with the resources needed to deliver adaptable, flexible library service. So we talked about something in there about fines. I know the library board is going to be talking about that in the months to come. So we'll kind of flesh that out as we get into auto renewals. Also, I briefly mentioned for the library board last month. That's an option to not have to go and renew if something is available for renew. We talked about an internal newsletter and redoing the staff intranet. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. We're not going to get through today.
You want to share that with them? Are you sharing?
Yeah, it's in the.
It's already there. I think that I was just checking.
Something agenda too. So I think that we could get the small group back together again. They kind of hit a wall, like, here's all the stuff that we think should be there, and they wanted to get input from the whole committee on what are we missing, but we don't have time today to go through that. So we should either, there's what?
There's already plenty, like, what are we missing? Like, we do all this.
Yeah, but are there blind spots
Yeah,
that didn't occur to that small group? So so Meredith, what do you think? We could either have this whole group back together to go through this line by line, or we could let them try to do that a little bit.
I think it needs a little more work for us to understand, but do we also feel like we want feedback from the board
On this end, yeah. Yeah, the feedback from I think the important feedback from the board at this point is on the public listening. Yeah, and I will share this with them and let them see where we are on it, but it kind of makes sense.
But I'm saying, if they will, obviously, if 3 of the board members are on this committee, but if for any reason they said this is the wrong goal,
Yeah,
then that does.
yes, then we would definitely have to do it.
Would people feel like they want to take it to the larger group, or you're gonna decide?
Taylor, what do you think? We hit a wall, right? It's like, okay, we're done here. I think it was mostly just, we got everything that we want out there. I want to make sure that we're not missing. The rest of it is clean up. We can do that.
I think so, because I think we've filled in all of the ideas that we have from committees, from that plan, from the health plan, everything is in there.
Or you just have everybody go over it on their own time, read through it, and then just add in comments. Yeah, just use comments to add comment in that way, or, yeah. Deadline. Yeah, deadline.
Give deadline, you content, and then we will clean up.
Comment.
Yeah.
Especially if you're thinking that's very like.
Does that sound good, Latasha and Alita?
I think so.
That means more meetings, Latasha.
And I will,
Depending on when the meetings are.
We should have one next week when Kayla's in Paris and make her join remotely.
yeah, already not.
Already done.
Reporting live. hour. Okay, Meredith, anything else you want to address there?
No, have to let everybody go back to work.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay,
See you soon.
Have a great day.
okay.
Bye.